Okay, so the third area or areas I would like to call, fast forwarding to October 2023, I got to meet another mechanic who was my neighbor. He's a retired mechanic. He was also an expert in Enfields. I just showed him that, hello sir, this is my motorcycle. So can you just point out what's good and what's not good with the motorcycle, right? Because we people generally do it with experts. We just show them and maybe have some better corrections, make our motorcycles better, right? He revved the bike a little bit harder near the red line. He just smeared or tinkered near the exhaust end, and he had showed me on his finger that there is a light trace of black smoke. So which he told me that this would be the initial stage of the engine emitting black smoke. Again, this isn't a big issue because normally internal combustion engines are known to emit gases, be it BS3, BS4, BS6, or even the BS6 phase 2 with E20 actively emitting other gases. So these internal combustion engines do. But for a bike of 5 years which has just ran 20,000 kilometers, I wasn't feeling it right. Even he too confessed to me that this wasn't much of a deal breaker. White smoke is a big issue, although I wasn't getting any white smoke from this vehicle. This vehicle wasn't burning oil, but this was the initial stage of black smoke. It wasn't visible. There are high chances for it to get visible anytime soon in the future. So then I made a hard decision. Why not I just change the cylinder kit? Yeah, it might sound a bit too overkill, but I decided in my mind that nothing should be imperfect in my motorcycle. My motorcycle should be as good as possible. And this being a 500cc, 500cc's are quite rare to find in India under good conditions. So I am quite committed. I'm quite passionate about motorcycles. So that's why I decided to, yes, let's go change the cylinder kit. Now there were 3 ideas for me to change the cylinder kit. First one is of course going with the stock kit. Second one was fitting an oversized piston. Now there's a company called SAM which makes the pistons, the original pistons and parts for TVS motorcycles. Now they make a piston which is oversized by 0.25 mm of diameter for the Enfield 500s. But then mechanics generally won't suggest to put an oversized piston because that also needs the cylinder kit to be bored. Even I wasn't really sure of where would I be getting it, will that be genuine, because an oversized piston means we can juice up some extra power, again not by much. Or the third and the final way was, why not I just put a 535cc piston. I hope you all remember the GT 535 from Enfield. In that third way there are other 2 subcategories. One, just get a 535cc piston and piston rings, rebore the existing 500cc to a 535cc and fit in with the existing head and the crank. Now, I'm not sure of how that will be done so perfectly here in Chennai because I had seen that in a YouTuber's video. Again, shout out to Mr. Mantavya. He had done those videos. I'll just leave a link in the description. You can go and check it out. Or I thought of, why not I just get the entire cylinder kit and the piston rings made for the 535. Yeah, that would be quite expensive. But there are again 2 problems pertaining to it. First thing is, this 500cc or rather the 499cc technically has got a heavier crank compared to the 535 GT which has got a lighter crank attached to its piston. And secondly, what if the cylinder head which is holding that where the piston moves is a little bit bigger compared to the top part of the head? Yeah, that was quite a dicey process of figuring out what works and what not works. That needed some clear cut expertise in getting those things done. So I had to go the first way. Yes, just it's better that I get a stock 500cc cylinder. Now as you will be seeing here, this was the box that I had got with the kit basically, and this contains the cylinder kit. Now this is the old cylinder kit which you are seeing here. You might be seeing inside the piston is by default in black. Of course it gets covered by oil eventually, and I was surprised to see that the piston wasn't covered with any charred carbon deposits, because normally bikes that get older, ridden hard and fast, they tend to deposit some charred carbon deposits. They would be like gritty and muddy in texture. You can just scrape them out with sandpaper. I had nothing to do of that sort. It was perfectly fine. Of course, the rubbers which are on the side for heat deflection were also taken from the old one and put it in the new one. Talking about the cost, I got it for like 8.5 something. You will be seeing here. And the good part is I got the manufacturing date on October 2023. So it was like a recently made cylinder, and I was lucky enough to get one. And there's also one more detail to be remembered here. There are like two types in the same 500 cc's. They are same in dimensions. You can interchangeably fit them. What is the main difference between these two? The one, you would be getting a machined finished off cut outside the cylinder kit along its cooling fins, and you'd be getting the piston in black. So that is for the Thunderbird 500, 500X, and you can even fit for the classic 500, the stealth black color edition. And there's one more edition of the cylinder kit which doesn't have any sort of machine cut finishing on its cooling fins, and the piston will be in silver. So that kit is meant for the standard Bullet 500, or maybe even for the classic 500 Desert Storm, Squadron Blue, classic 500 Chrome, for all those other variants other than the stealth black edition. But there's a price difference. Yeah, the one without the machine cut finish and the silver piston costs 500 rupees extra than the one with the machine cut finish, the one which I'm having as an existing one. And one more thing is regarding the break-in period. I had asked my mechanic that should I perform any break-in on the engine, the running in period. He told me like it was not needed because this is an entirely new kit. If there were to be any reboring done on the engine, maybe that could have needed a running in period of like say 750 to 1000 kilometers. To be on the safer side, even if you're planning to change anything, I would say like do a running in of like 400 to 500 kilometers. That would do perfectly fine. There was also another value addition repair which was made along while changing the cylinder kit and piston, was the alteration of the bearings. Now in the UC engine platform, be it a 350 or a 500, if you open the RH cover, you will find the alternator or the magnet. Right now that will be rotating and sensing the RPM of the engine based on how the motorcycle is being fueled functions. There's a lot of magnets alongside the rings. What my mechanic told me was some kind of alteration. I guess the weights were added on that to make it more vibration dampened. I really couldn't film the process at that time while he was working because I was quite tied up with work. And apart from that, there's also one more triangular bearing behind the alternator. Now that is a stock bearing. You people might be aware of the company called Carberry, which makes performance kits for Enfields, the UC platforms, and they also have their popular product which was quite buzzing around the internet some years before, was the Carberry vibration reduction plate. Of course, the Carberry plate by itself isn't installed on my motorcycle. I guess my mechanic might have done something similar to it. So now the vibrations are quite dampened. Yes, of course, courtesy to the new cylinder kit, new piston, and these alterations being done. And for the first time, I have used Vidal synthetic oil in the engine. For these many years, I have been using the mineral oil, the Royal Enfield liquid gun, which we get to see in the service centers, right? This is the first time I'm giving my bike to a mechanic outside the service center. So he had suggested me to use a synthetic oil. Vibrations have gone marginally down. I can feel it quite evidently. Now these are some of the areas, the key areas in regard to the performance which have been corrected. The bike was also installed with new tires. I got the MRF Zappers 19 at the front and 120/80 18 at the rear. These are tube tires. I've got them installed on my spoke wheel. Now I thought of going for the tubeless, but I had to purchase the alloys, the original alloys which are on the Thunderbird X series of vehicles. The tires plus the alloys would cost me more, and I was quite skeptical to install the alloys on a bike which weighs as heavy as 200 kgs. I personally find spokes to be better for our Indian road conditions. So that's why I had to stick with the MRF Zappers, and I couldn't find any other tire apart from Seat. Yes, my bike was already running Seat Zoom Plus, the same 19 120/80 18, the same dimensions. Those weren't offering me good grip, or neither are these MRFs are gonna offer, because you can find hundreds of videos on YouTube blasting these MRF rubbers. But a known devil is better than an unknown angel. I didn't want to go and try out any other unknown tire brands like this. As a tire brand called as Timson, I wasn't sure of how good are they gonna be. And there's one more company called as Race. Yes, of course, their tires look pretty good, like the off-road tread pattern, but I was not sure of will I be needing such hardcore off-road tread patterns to just run on these kind of city roads. I don't think so. So it was not worth it for me personally. And the tires had costed me a total of 5,000 rupees. Some of the finishing touches were also to be done, which is the chrome plating of the metallic parts on my vehicle, the brake and clutch levers, some of the screws, engine bolts on the swing arm and on the front forks, the oil filler cap. The spokes were also the chrome plated, but thankfully the rims weren't, because I was initially planning to get my rims in powder coated golden yellow. Yeah, I wanted to try that combination of having yellow golden rims with the black vehicle. You know, Thunderbird is generally a little bit black with a little bit of touches of chrome here and there. But I couldn't find anyone doing powder coat golden yellow here in Chennai. I wanted to get the bike looking a little bit like how the new 2024 Himalayan looks like in black and yellow. You are seeing it right now. That was my concept, but no, I couldn't get it done. And even if I got done, they are quite expensive. Now the bike looks a little bit better, fresher. It would last for another couple of years. So these are the major areas of work that I've done. You would be definitely seeing the prices and the cost split. I would have definitely posted them a little bit here and there, and I will also try to give a comprehensive one. So this is the expense that I've overall incurred in sort of rebuilding the bike. But no, this is not actually kind of a rebuild. I don't know what's the exact term to put. I can't even call it as a fresh look, because it was looking the same and it will still look the same. I'm not planning to change anything, at least for now, hopefully. This is one talking video, a lot of details. I hope if you found it useful, please do give it a thumbs up. You can share it if someone is looking for it. And yeah, this is Sairam signing off. Take care.